Okay, so this video is kind of meant to go up on October 4th, and all the information is from pre-October 4th. But please don't click off. I think there's maybe still something in this video, or maybe I just wrote a 3,000 word script and I don't want to throw it all away. Okay, let's get into the video. Hello, and welcome to me adding nothing new to the conversation at all. So I'm going to cover some of what's new with the LPS reboot and my thoughts on it. This video is more so about my opinions rather than just being purely informational, since there are plenty of videos on YouTube like the latter. So if you came here for just info, then this probably isn't the video for you. Also, some of the opinions I have are negative. That doesn't mean I'm not excited or happy for the reboot, so please don't call me ungrateful or whatever. I totally get not wanting to hear negativity, but I can still say what I want even if it isn't 100% positive. Also, most of my criticism is pretty lighthearted, and I am genuinely happy with the direction LPS is heading as a whole, so yeah. So they're making an official LPS Roblox tie-in game, I guess? I'm only going to talk about this briefly because I just don't really have that much to say about it. My main takeaway from the trailer was honestly just I forgot how janky Roblox looks. Also, random tangent, but the language they use to describe Roblox is just so obnoxious to me. Like, immersive experience? Really? You sure about that? This immersive experience in the room with us now? This has nothing to do with LPS or basic fun, but it just annoys me so much. Like, you're a children's gaming platform that underpays your developers. Like, just call it a game. It is a game. Also, I feel like it's a bad idea to mention this, but this Dalmatian right here has the same design as a leaked prototype, which pretty much confirms that prototype is real. So if you're into that side of things, then I guess it's probably nice to have that confirmation. I've seen the prototype and I actually really like the design, so I'm glad it's gonna be real. And please don't sue me, Basic Fun, for talking about prototypes. But yeah, it makes sense that they would choose to advertise on Roblox, given that it's very, very popular with kids, for better or for worse. I probably won't end up playing it since I'm not into Roblox anymore, and I low-key don't remember my Roblox password. I hope it ends up being good though. Okay, let's get into the interesting stuff. Basic Fun attended the New York Toy Fair this year, and there were LPS. Like, check it out! I'm just gonna go left to right and point out what catches my eye. These are definitely blind bags, which is a bit disappointing to me since I really dislike blind bags in general. Like, I want to know what I'm buying. The no repeats is interesting, but I highly doubt that's how it'll be when they actually release the line. Also, does anyone have any guesses as to what type of pet this is? Like, I genuinely cannot tell at all. Also, speaking of pets, it's important to keep in mind that the new designs shown at the Toy Fair are not necessarily the final products we're getting. Designs could be tweaked or even completely overhauled in the time between the Toy Fair and the actual release. They're effectively still prototypes. What's immediately intriguing here is that along with the new designs, there also seem to be designs that already exist, namely these pets on screen. It isn't really possible to tell if they're 100% the same or not, but they are very similar. I'm going to hold off on talking about that until later in the video, so put a pin in that for the time being. I'm so excited about the new Clydesdale here, and the wolf, though, like, especially the wolf. Making an actual gray wolf just makes so much sense, and it looks really cool. Here it looks like they're using the same old molds for accessories as well as for pets, which is cool. Also, the fact that they put the sushi in the set with the fish, like, you're next, dude. Run! Also, look at the purple kiwi bird! If we move back up here, I'm so curious about what looks like trading cards. I have no idea what they would be for, but they do look pretty neat, I think. Moving on to the middle area, we can see more new designs, as well as a few old ones. The Corgi is wearing a crown, which I believe is a completely new accessory. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. The King Charles Spaniel looks nice. It looks like she could be 748's mom or something. I mean that in a good way. The color and design of the packaging reminds me of one of the later eras of LPS, but I honestly can't quite remember which one. I'm not that interested in the packaging though, honestly. I'm just gonna be tearing through it to get at what's inside. Also, look at the shark! He's yellow! I don't really have that much to say about this area, so let's just move on. This last area definitely has the most I want to talk about. There are even more new designs, including this blue Maltese, which I think is super pretty, from what I can see at least. This levels thing is just confusing to me. Level 1 looks like it's probably the blind bags, level 2 is just LPS, level 3 also has sets, and I honestly have no idea what level 4 is. My best guess is that those are screenshots from the Roblox game, but it's still confusing if that's the case. This is probably meant more for investors or whatever, so I imagine it makes more sense in that context, and when you can actually see what's fully going on. This area, combined with this sign here, have led some people, including me, to believe that instead of the old eye symbols, LPS will have similar symbols integrated into the designs on their bodies. The symbols they'll be using look to be a star, a heart, flowers, diamonds, a teardrop, and lightning bolt. This walrus seems to have the same flower design, and even in this very, very low quality picture, you can see that this rhino clearly has the lightning bolt design on its head. I personally do actually like this idea. I think it's an interesting new gimmick that, if it's executed well, could be really cool, and it doesn't feel that out of place for LPS to me. There are a lot of neat ways you can incorporate various symbols into designs, and I'm interested to see how they'll go about doing that. The only symbol I don't really like is the lightning bolt. It's just hard to imagine that not looking tacky, but tacky can be fun sometimes too, so, you know, who knows. The last thing we'll be looking at in this picture is this little sign here. I'm going to be guessing on what some of this stuff says because it's pretty hard for me to read. The infectious collectible strategy. That is the weirdest, kind of grossest way of saying sometimes people like to collect stuff, but sure, I guess. Here's the personality symbol thing again. It's a pun, get it? Ah, something about different breeds. The pets shown here look like the second 339, aka LPS Honey's mascot, 1438, 1577, and 2660. The thing that intrigues me about this is that cat is not a G2 LPS. Although I'm not really sure if this actually means anything or if they just picked a completely random pet to put there and happened to not pick a G2 one somehow. I think this says pet profile collector card, and it's just some pictures of said cards. Obviously, not much to say about that. I mean, they're cards. And last we have the word levels being used in ways I do not understand again. It's honestly just too pixelated for me to have any idea what this is about. All I can see is that there are a bunch of short hair cats, and one of them kind of looks like the fake Dalmatian short hair. A bunch of people are very excited about the short hair since so far it's the closest thing we've gotten to a big 5 in the reboot. I'll be coming back to that as well, so put a pin in that too. Now that I've gone over all I want from this image, I feel like I should finally address the elephant in the room, or should I say the axolotl. There's now an official LPS axolotl mold, but at what cost? Dramatics aside, I honestly don't hate the new mold, but that forehead looks like a balding man. But in its defense, so does this Cocker Spaniel, but you know, I digress. The head shape is just very off. It looks like they were trying to make an LPS blobfish, but changed it to an axolotl halfway through. That being said, it does have a certain charm to it. Like, it's ugly, but in a very endearing way. It has a lot of character, and I could see myself using it for very specific roles in my videos. Not any serious roles, though. It just needs a tiny, tiny pair of spectacles, and then it's perfect. I feel about it the same way I feel about LPS chimpanzees. Like, they're ugly, but how could you hate that little face? Honestly, as much as I'm not a huge fan of this mold, at least not unironically, I do think it's a step in the right direction nonetheless. The axolotls still do genuinely look like LPS to me, regardless of how much I like them. Also, again, it could be subject to change before the release, so who knows if this is actually what we'll end up with. I honestly wouldn't mind if it is, but I still wanted to point that out as a reminder. Alrighty, now I'm going to talk about the possibility of reused LPS designs, as well as the reaction to them from the community. There has been some quote-unquote discourse around the possibility of Basic Fun re-releasing old designs. Some people think it would be a good thing, since it could allow people to get certain old LPS for far cheaper than buying the original versions online. And some people think it would be a bad thing, because it would screw people who bought said old LPS for higher prices over, and it would also mess with the LPS economy. To an extent, I can understand both sides of this. Wanting to be able to get your dream pet without going bankrupt is something I deeply get. 1542, one day, my love. And being able to get old pets offline would be far more convenient in general, especially with the prices of shipping these days. It would just make collecting more accessible to more people. This is the side I'm more inclined to agree with personally. I'm just not a hardcore collector, and those are mostly the people who actually have a cause for concern with this. On the other hand, I do sort of understand why they have a cause for concern. I mean, imagine buying $6.75 for $50, and then all of a sudden you can buy her for $3. Like, I would be so upset. And some LPS sellers probably do make a decent portion of their income from what they sell, and this could really mess things up for them, I guess. I think. Although I honestly haven't seen that many people complaining about the possibility of re-releases, so I don't know what their actual points really are. I've seen people complaining about people complaining, but I've seen basically no actual complaining. I personally would be fine with reproductions as long as there are also plenty of new designs, but it is kind of annoying right now not knowing if I should buy certain LPS or wait to see if they're remade. Alright, next topic. This kind of goes back to the short hairs we saw earlier. So far, none of the actual physical pets we've seen have been big 5 pets, and that has led some people to worry that the reboot won't include them at all. I'll be honest, I don't quite get this takeaway. Like, at all. I mean, I know it's mostly just people being paranoid that they won't get new designs for their favorite molds, but I genuinely cannot imagine Basic Fun not choosing to make at least a few big fives. What we're seeing at the toy fair is only a fraction of the pets they're making. I'm honestly kind of glad we didn't see a whole bunch of big fives at the toy fair. If Basic Fun were to prioritize only the most popular molds, I feel like in a way that would kind of ruin it. With the original G2, there weren't big five pets in every single set. They were just added in the same way as any other mold. Also, I feel like it would be unfair to the kids, aka LPS's actual target demographic, who don't have the same big five biases if there were a disproportionate amount of big fives. Like, they wouldn't get a chance to actually experience the full variety of LPS. I'm no, like, LPS hipster when it comes to popular molds. I love most of the big five pets. Heck, my other mascot is literally a Great Dane. But seeing some people's only takeaway from the toy fair be, where are the big fives? It's honestly kind of annoying. Like, really annoying. Like, this is annoying me more than it should be. And that's on me, but it still is. This is the last topic I'm going to be covering, and it really isn't directly related to the reboot. A lot of this is specifically about me, my channel, and my conscience, so if you're not interested in that, you can skip to the end with this timestamp, which I would personally really recommend doing. What does the reboot mean for LPSTube? I imagine the reboot will probably bring back some people who used to watch LPSTube when they were younger, or even used to be LPSTubers. I've already seen some people rejoining the community in general because of it, not necessarily LPSTube specifically though. Also, if LPSTube becomes a hit with the youth these days, then probably some of those kids will end up stumbling onto LPSTube too, which is obviously fine, but it kind of worries me in regards to my channel specifically. My videos at the moment are all pretty G-rated for the most part, but I don't know if I want to keep them that way forever. In fact, I know I don't. Like, I have many video ideas and concepts that are not really appropriate for all audiences. To get to the point, I'm worried that kids will end up finding my darker videos and be traumatized by them. So, I know whatever I do, I can't control who watches my videos, but I also feel like I bear more responsibility for it than some other creators do. Because some of my videos definitely do appeal to children, even though that is not who they're made for. And it's not just because they're made using toys. Like, my skits, for instance, definitely do appeal to kids, but I do still enjoy making family-friendly-ish skits, but I also want to make kind of gruesome murder mysteries where characters smoke and say unsavory things. I want to do both, but that just feels irresponsible. I don't want to be some sort of Elsagate channel that's genuinely disgusting, and the thought of my videos being that or being seen as that honestly just makes me want to quit LPSTube. In hindsight, I wish I would have made 2 channels, like one for each type of video, but I'm not sure if I want to do that retroactively, or if there's even any point, because kids don't care if they're not supposed to watch something. That honestly just makes them want to watch it more, I think. It's not even that I want to make, like, hyper mature content, it's just that I don't want to influence children, like, regardless. This isn't really the same at all, but like I've seen comments on more modern videos about LPS Popular, and some people were talking about how, like, stuff in that series genuinely messed them up as a kid, and like the stuff I'd be doing is kind of in a different vein than LPS Popular, but still, I don't want to give people childhood trauma. But I want to make the stories that I want to make, and sometimes my ideas are very childish, and sometimes they're very not childish. I use LPSTube as a very difficult to replace creative outlet, and I want to be able to tell whatever stories I want, even if the characters swear or die or whatever. I just really wish YouTube would at least try to enforce their 13+ policy. Like, I see people on here saying they're like 8. That is just incredibly unsafe. I made my first YouTube account at 11, and I really shouldn't have been able to do that. I know kids can always just lie about their ages, but YouTube doesn't even make an effort to stop them from doing that. This isn't even about my channel anymore. Yeah, that was not insight into anything. That was just a breakdown over worries I've had for like a year at this point. You should have skipped this section when you had the chance. Also, if LPSTube gets popular again, I imagine we'll probably all get an influx of hate, but I'm low-key looking forward to that because I really want to make a hate comments video. Like, I wanted to make one since I made my first channel 5 years ago. Like, they just look so fun to do. So yeah, LPS, am I right? This video will probably become outdated the second it's posted, but I hope at least some of my points still stand. What are your hopes, thoughts, and fears regarding the reboot? Leave a comment about them if you want to, and don't if you don't want to. Wow, I'm so good at baiting for comments. Also, I have no idea how to segue into this, but look at this new LPS iguana. Like, I am going to scream. Basic fun, if you're watching this, first of all, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And second of all, this LPS is perfect. It needs no change. I don't care if it's a prototype or release him as is right now. Bye!